In this video, I'm going to explain an HTML page called GunCanvas.html. This is an object-oriented application where we have classes named gun and shell. And this application contains animation and it has a kind of game loop which is used to move the shell on the screen and to update the screen. My name is Kari Laitinen and you can find this page when you go first to naturalprogramming.com and you select this web icon and you enter this page, and then you find this link to canvas-based pages, and there is this long list and there is this GunCanvas.html. You can download it to yourself if you like. I have already the page open here locally and the page looks like this. So there is a gun there, so this is the gun, and there is also a shell there, and if I click the canvas area like this, I can make the shell fly from the barrel of the gun. And if I re-click, the shell flies again, and always when I click the shell, a new shell object is created and it starts flying from the barrel. And when the shell hits the ground, it stops. And I can also do this with the keyboard keys, so that if I press some keyboard key, then the shell starts flying again. So this is the application, not very complicated, so you can just fire this gun. I have already the source code of the page open here, and well, there are again some comments at the beginning of the page, and then there is this class shell in JavaScript, and then there is this class gun, and then there is the main JavaScript program, and here we have the style descriptions that specify that the canvas area is centered on the screen, and at the end of this file there is this small HTML body that specifies the canvas element that is inside a div, and when this page is loaded, a function named run this application is called, and also there are functions that are called automatically when the keyboard key is pressed or the mouse button is pressed down. So let's take a look at this main program then, main JavaScript part. So here we specify a ground level for drawing operations and for operating or flying the shell. And here we create a gun object, a new gun object, and we specify the position for the gun and the ground level, and also this is the angle of the barrel. So I have here printed this thing on paper. So this is now the gun thing, and this is the shell thing, and this is the barrel of the gun, and this is the angle of the barrel, so that this is the angle. So it is here specified as 60 degrees, and this specifies the X position of the gun, and this ground level specifies this ground level like this. So the gun is then automatically drawn a little bit above the ground. And then after we have created the gun object here, we immediately call a method named fire, and this fire method then creates or returns a shell object. So we get the shell object and we make this variable to refer to the shell object. And always when a mouse is pressed down or a key is pressed down, then we call this fire method, and it always returns a new shell object, and this name starts referring to the shell. So this explains that if I click and re-click, it always creates a new shell object, and then that shell is being flown on the screen. And then there is this two functions, draw on canvas and run this application. So this run this application is the function that is called at the beginning when this page is loaded, and we can think that this is now the game loop. And here we test first that if the flying shell, if it is something else than null, then we move it, and then we call this draw on canvas function, and then we set this timeout that this same function is called again after 50 milliseconds. So when this is 50 milliseconds, it means that in practice this is called something like 20 times every second. So this game loop is executed 20 times in every second. And the shell is being moved and the screen is updated with this function call. And now you can also notice that when this shell moves and flies, then it stops on the ground. So practically it means that this shell object is such that it knows how to move and when to stop moving. So after the shell has hit the ground, it doesn't actually move, although this move method is called 20 times every second. And then there is this draw on canvas method or function that is called also 20 times every second. So there are the usual things that we first refer to the canvas, and we are going to fill the entire canvas with this light blue color, and then we change the color to sandy brown, which is the ground color, and then we here draw this ground area, which is also rectangle. So this call draws the ground area, and then we draw, if the flying shell is something else than null, then we draw the shell. The shell knows how to draw itself, so it has its own drawing method. We call that, and also then we draw the gun, which also has its own drawing method. And this, everything is drawn then something like 20 times every second. So let's then take a look at these two classes which we have here. So the first class is shell, and it has this constructor for which we give the initial position X and Y, and we give the firing angle in degrees, and we give it also a thing called energy, and we specify the ground level. So the shell object must know the ground level, because then it has to stop when it reaches the ground. And all this information is stored into these data fields that are inside each shell object, and we set also the radius, and we also set two variables, movement x and movement y, and the values for these variables are then specify how much the shell is moved each time when this move method is called. And this movement x and movement y, they are then calculated with these cosine and sin functions. And the energy value specifies then at how fast the movement takes place. Well, then there is this move method, and as the comment says here, the shell will be moved until it has reached the ground level. And the movement is simple, very simple, so that we add these, we calculated earlier these two values, we add these values to the shell position x and shell position y. And then we modify the y value, movement y, so that we add 0.3 to it. So this has the effect that when this is modified, it is because it is negative value at the beginning. So it means that the shell will go upwards, but then when it is modified, it gets a positive value, and then the shell starts going downwards and its velocity increases also. So you can, when you look at this, you can see that it reaches, the shell reaches some high point, and then it starts going downwards, and that is achieved with this modification. And then, so both these methods, when this shell is operated, both these methods, they are called something like 20 times each in every second, and then when a shell is redrawn and it is drawn to its position x, and so these two data fields specify the position where the shell is drawn. So it always is, when the shell is flying, it is drawn in a new position. So and then we have this gun class, and when a gun is created, we give it the position x and the ground level, and then the barrel angle in degrees. And there is this fire method and the fire method always creates the shell, and the initial position for a shell is the gun position x and y. So initially, when the shell is created, we can think that it is inside the gun, and the shell gets the firing angle, because for the shell we have to give this firing angle, so the firing angle is the same as the barrel angle. And this is the energy, and also we give the ground level when we create the shell object. And this fire method, it returns the shell, and then it is the responsibility of the main game loop to move the shell and draw the shell. The drawing operation for this gun is then that, as usual, we save the graphics context and we restore it when the drawing is done. And so this barrel is drawn with this fill rect operation, but it is drawn so that the coordinate system is altered, so that the coordinate system is drawn so that we can draw this barrel like a rectangle, and then it is in that position which is the angle of the barrel. So the coordinate system is rotated here, and then we draw the barrel with this fill rect method, and then this thing here, the wheel of the gun is then drawn with as an arc here. So this is how the gun is drawn. So with this, the main program is then quite simple, so that there is not much things being done in the main program, and most is done inside the methods of these two classes. Then, and for instance, if we want to modify something, it's easy, so that we can, for instance, modify this the barrel of the angle. So I will write there, because now it is 60 degrees, and so I will write there 30 degrees. I save it, and I can reload the page, and you see that now the shell flies in different way, but still it flies as it should fly. But if we put here something like 90 degrees, now it should go upwards. Let's check it. Yes, it does like this. So this is object-oriented programming, so that with very few modifications, with a very simple modification, you can modify the behavior of an object. So I think this is now enough explanation here. So you can find, if you like, you can find exercises related to this page if you go to this page and click this link. So I thank you for watching this video, and goodbye.